All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're looking at a really fascinating business idea. It's all about taking something we see everywhere, agricultural waste, and turning it into a seriously valuable and profitable resource. This is a huge opportunity where doing good for the planet and doing good business come together. So think about this for a second. Have you ever been driving past a farm or maybe walking through a market right at closing time and seen all that leftover produce just sitting there? It seems like a simple question, right? But it actually opens up this huge story about waste, and believe it or not, a massive opportunity hiding in plain sight. And this really gets us to the heart of the problem we're going to unpack today. We're not just talking about a couple of bruised apples here and there. We are talking about a literal mountain of surplus food and all the hidden costs that come along with it. Just try to wrap your head around this for a moment. Globally, about a third of all the food that we produce for people to eat, it gets lost or wasted. A third. That's food that's perfectly good to eat, but maybe looks a little weird, or stuff that just goes bad before it can get to the store. This isn't some small leak in the system, it's a flood, and it has major consequences. And the consequences here are a real double-edged sword. On one side, you've got the farmers. They take a direct hit to their wallets, right? They lose all that potential income, and then they actually have to pay to get rid of the surplus. On the other side, you've got the planet. All that waste rotting in landfills pumps out methane, a really potent greenhouse gas, and can mess up our soil and water. It's just a lose-lose situation all around. So that's the bad news. How in the world do we fix something this big? Well, let's get to the core idea, because a pretty simple and elegant digital platform can step in and completely change the game here. The whole concept is actually beautiful in its simplicity. Picture a central marketplace, an app or a website that basically plays matchmaker. You've got farmers and markets on one side with all this surplus food. And on the other side, you've got a whole bunch of buyers who don't see waste. They see a valuable raw material. And this is where that incredible transformation happens. What used to be lost revenue for a farmer now becomes a brand new income stream. What was a costly disposal problem is now a profitable resource. And that whole nasty cycle of environmental damage, it gets replaced by a circular economy where everything gets used and has value. It's a total shift in how we think about this stuff. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, right? But how does something like this actually work day to day? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the operational blueprint. The whole process really flows through 4 key steps. First, you've got to gather up all that surplus supply by partnering with farms and markets. Then, and this is super important, you classify everything by quality so the buyers know exactly what they're getting. Next up is the logistics puzzle, getting it all from point A to point B efficiently. And finally, that's where the platform works its magic, connecting all that classified surplus with the perfect buyer. And you might be wondering, who are these buyers? Well, the market for this is way more diverse than you might think. We're talking about big players, like companies that make livestock feed or compost, but you've also got biogas plants creating energy, and even small creative businesses making things like jams and juices, or even crafts from dehydrated fruits. The possibilities are kind of endless. So, the million-dollar question, how does the platform actually make money? Well, the smart thing is, it's not just banking on one thing. It can take a small commission on every sale, charge fees for handling the logistics, maybe offer premium subscriptions for power users, and even tap into green energy grants or carbon credits. This diversified approach makes the whole business model way more stable and robust. An idea is only as good as its timing. So let's take a look at the big trends that are happening in the world right now, because they're creating the absolute perfect environment for a platform like this to not just launch, but to really take off. We're basically looking at a perfect storm of positive forces. First off, there is a massive cultural shift and a ton of investment focused on sustainability. The tech we need, from smartphone apps to logistics software, it's all here and affordable. Plus, with growing pressure on food security, cutting down waste is more critical than ever. And to top it all off, the market demand for these recycled materials is just getting bigger and bigger. Okay, but let's be real for a minute. No new business is ever a walk in the park. It's super important to be realistic, so let's take an honest look at some of the hurdles a business like this would definitely have to clear. Now, while the challenges are absolutely real, logistics can get pricey, and you have to be super strict on quality control. None of them are deal breakers. For every single hurdle, there's a smart, practical solution. You can use central collection hubs to cut down on transport costs, put strict standards in place to guarantee quality and safety, and start off regionally to build trust and scale up smartly. So let's bring this all home. When you step back and look at this entire model, you really land on this incredibly powerful and, I think, compelling conclusion about what a modern business can and probably should be. The ultimate takeaway here is this. This is about so much more than just spotting a gap in the market. This is a business model where success isn't just measured in dollars. It's also measured in reduced emissions, in farmers getting a fair shake, and in a stronger, more secure food system for everyone. Profit and purpose don't have to be enemies. In a model like this, they actually fuel each other. And that brings us to one last thought I want to leave you with. Take a look around your own community, your own town. What's being thrown away every day that maybe with a little bit of creativity and a fresh perspective could be the foundation for the next great opportunity? It's definitely something to think about.